Today I'm going to be talking to you about some of the most hyped, the most loved, the most I've missed out on these so far Romantasies on my TBR at the moment. 2025 was really the year that I found Romantasy as a genre for the first time. There are plenty of books that I have read in the past and absolutely adored, and if they were being published now would probably be classified as romantasy, but at the time were just fantasy with a romantic subplot. So I know that I definitely can find favourites in this genre. It's just going to be a case of trying lots of them, knowing when to DNF and step away, and digging out the ones that really fit for me as someone who isn't going to love every romantasy I come across. I've tried not to find out too much about any of these books because I don't want them spoiled for me. I will just be telling you the loosest of summaries, maybe the tropes that I've heard it contains, and we'll whistle through them very quickly. If you have any you think I should add to my TBR, tell me in the comments, or if any of these pique your interest and you didn't know about them, let me know that too. First on the list is Empire of Flames and Thorns by Marion Blackwood. This is about Selena, who is trapped in the Seelie court surrounded by dragon shifters. So it's a dragon shifter romance, which I don't think I've ever read before. This also has a trials element as Serena is desperate to compete in an upcoming contest where 3 people will be able to leave these realms and she plans to be one of them. The only thing is that the commander of the dragon shifter army is determined to make her lose. So we're definitely going to have some enemies to lovers vibes here, and it has a lot of tropes that sound really interesting. I just need to see how it comes together. Another contest themed romantasy is Trial of the Sun Queen by Tisha J. Tuli. In this one we have 2 rival kings, the Aurora King and the Sun King, and our protagonist has lived kind of under the despotic, tyrannical rule of the Aurora King for as long as she can remember. But then a surprise release puts her into the hands of the Sun King, and she becomes part of a contest with 10 other women where one of them will become the Sun Queen. Obviously all of the other contestants resent her for this, and if she loses she's going to end up back with the kind of now even more vengeful Aurora King. This is a real life and death stakes one. I think it could have a really good plot, it could have a lot of good pacing. This is probably one of the high priorities. Spark of the Everflame by Penn is one of the absolute classics in the modern romantasy canon. It's one that I've seen absolutely everywhere, I see everyone talking about, and it seems to be almost universally beloved. This is set in a world ruled by gods and their offspring, the Descended, and we have a poor girl just trying to make good. When her mother goes missing and she starts to investigate, she finds herself thrown into the world of these Descended. It seems like it's gonna very much fill those tropes of someone from a lower class being thrown into high politics or high society, trying to fit in when she doesn't have the tools to do so. I'm just such a fan of political fantasy and intrigue and court settings that I think this one is going to be an absolute hit for me. Farm Girl's Guide to Ruling as a Bloodthirsty Tyrant by Katy Nyquist is the second book in her Scandals of the Gifted series. So this is probably the only book on this list that is a sequel, but it's one that I am so excited about. I think they're sort of companion novels in a same universe, so we're gonna count it. This follows on from The Holy Maiden's Guide to Getting Kidnapped, which I read last year. It was my favourite romantasy of the year. It was probably one of my top 3, top 5, where we're doing books of 2025. I absolutely loved it. This one follows Maura, who against her will is body swapped with a murderous duchess. So this sweet wallflower has to embrace her inner villain if she wants to save her country. The last book did an awful lot with different ways of being feminist, different ways of being strong as a woman. It had a trans protagonist, it had a dominant submissive relationship, it was doing a lot about, you know, the politics of religion and helping the poor and sometimes the hypocrisy that kind of surrounds that at times. And we had a protagonist that had face blindness, which I had never seen before. So it done so much, but also was just a really good romantasy. I am so excited for this one. I have very, very high expectations, and that is maybe what's put me off starting it right away. A Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson is a little bit older. This is one that actually came out in 2014, so at the time probably wasn't marketed as Romantasy, but now is popping up in those recommendation lists. I have had Mary Pearson on my to be read list, on my authors I want to try lists, probably since not long after Kiss of Deception came out, and I've just never got around to it. So I really need to make that push. Now I think there is a sequel duology to this trilogy, so it is a little bit more of an undertaking, but one that I think will be really worth it. In this one, we have Princess Leia, who is your typical princess in an arranged marriage situation. On the day of her wedding, she runs away. She finds herself being chased down by both the prince that she was meant to marry and an assassin that has been sent to kill her. And I think that between the two of them, the person she thinks she should trust is not the person she thinks it is. There's a lot of deception going on. Dark Window by Rachel Gillig is another one of these almost classics, modern classics in the Romantasy genre. It's one that I think everyone has heard of and probably everyone has read apart from me. I loved Rachel Gillig's The Night and the Moth when I read it. I actually though preferred the fantasy elements, the mystery elements of that story to the romance, but I've heard great things about One Dark Window. It's one of the more gothic romantasies, and I think that will really appeal to me. We're following Elspeth, who has a monster that she calls the Nightmare living inside her head. This story also has a lot of kind of card-based magic, a little bit like tarot, so I think it could be quite interesting in terms of its world building. A Curse of Shadows and Ice by Catharine Maura features a cursed emperor, a princess with forbidden magic, and a marriage that could save them all. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and that definitely slides it up the do I want to try this book kind of ladder immediately. I love Beauty and the Beast retellings, but also the cover for this one is just stunning, and quite frankly I want to love this so that I can buy a copy for my bookshelf. Because I know it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, I don't want to know too much else about it, since whatever aren't the retelling aspects are going to be what makes it unique. A Spell for Heartsickness by Alistair Reeves is pulling out a few things that are a little more unique compared to the other romantasies on this list. For one thing, it's a male-male romance, which so far we haven't seen any of, and this one is also apparently more of a cozy vibe rather than trials and princesses and drama. We're following a protagonist who is under a wasting curse and only has a certain amount of time before it catches up with him and kills him. So he's been trying to make his name as a magical fashion designer with the time that he has, until he receives a prophecy that leads him to an island to face a mysterious masked lover. The Petulant Princess by M.A. Frick is bringing us back to the princesses, to the fights for the throne and all of that drama. We have another character called Elspeth. This Elspeth is the second child, and when her father dies, it is her elder brother that takes the throne. Except her elder brother is despotic and has tried to kill Elspeth multiple times. Luckily, she has a bodyguard who has taken her away and is trying to protect her so that she can face various trials with the gods and hopefully eventually come back and face off with her brother and reclaim the throne. A lot of these tropes sound like things that are really common in Romantasy, but there's just something about the title being the Petulant Princess, that word, and having negative connotations and letting it be there, that really intrigues me. Forging Silver into Stars by Brigid Kemmerer is actually a spin-off series or a spin-off duology or whatever in her Cursebreakers universe. First Cursebreaker book was A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't feel a need to continue with the series though, because the love triangle element was so strong and I just wasn't interested in that. Now it's the YA element that's maybe putting me off this one, but I am intrigued because I read Brigid Kemmerer's adult fantasy last year, The Princess Warrior Assassin, I think's the order it went in, and I ate it up. I saw all of its flaws and I did not care because the chemistry between the characters was so incredible. I ate it up. I am excited. I am seated for the next book in that series. But in the meantime, I am tempted to dip my toe back into Brigid Kemmerer's other books and see if I can find that same spark. Next, I have A Vow in Vengeance by Jaclyn Rodriguez. This is a relatively new release and one that I honestly don't really know much about. I have just seen that everyone I've seen read it has nothing but the highest praise. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for me. There's definitely been some books that are beloved that just didn't click, but I would be excited to at least try this one. It has the enemies to lovers trope, it has the there's only one bed trope. It does have the fated mate trope, which I personally don't like, but it also has fake dating, which is my absolute favourite. So on balance, that might be a winner. Lastly, I have Blood and Steel by Helen Scheuerer. This first came across my radar when people were actually talking about the first book in what I think is either a sequel or spin-off series, but if I'm gonna start from scratch, then I might as well start properly from scratch and come back to this one. I really don't know very much about it at all, apart from we have a female protagonist who desperately wants to become a warrior in a world where women aren't allowed to be warriors. This is the sort of book that has training and initiation tests and lots of, I guess, fighting, combat, that sort of story. I really don't have any expectations about it, which is good, and if I love it, I know that there are plenty of books in this universe that I can continue with. So those are the 12 Romantasy books that are still very much on my TBR. It's not every Romantasy I have my eye on, but these are ones that seem to be very, very hyped, and I definitely have that kind of feeling that I'm missing out because I haven't tried them. So I want to give them all a go. Let me know which one you think I should start with, or leave me a love heart emoji in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.